Hey, my cousin said if you die in real life, you die in episode 115. It's kind of self-evident if you think about it. Pants Weasel, we're home. Hey, welcome back. I apologize for the extended hiatus. I actually had some somewhat serious health problems occur the last couple weeks. But I'm glad to be back here and face Final Puzzle. My neck muscles actually started spasming on me in a rather painful manner. And I figured out finally that it was, I think it's due to my poor posture. When I'm at work, I essentially am sitting down all day, and a lot of the things I do at home for fun have me sitting down. And I was kind of hunched over, and I have an enormous head. My noggin's pretty big too. Nah, my head is pretty huge, and I'm fairly thin. So I figured out maybe a couple months ago, my neck muscles were just like, screw this, either you correct your posture or we're going on strike. And I didn't correct my posture. Think I'll just slow this guy down. I don't waste to postpone on a Ronadillo. Surely I've got a sloth. There we go. Alright, yeah, my neck muscles just, they went on strike. They couldn't take it anymore. Oh my god, this is so awkward. I got dragons attacking me. My microphone keeps slipping down. I'm actually recording this on my back. I'm lying on my back. Yeah, soak that image in. With the microphone stand on my chest. Holding my 3DS kind of in the air above me. So this microphone stand keeps sagging down. So if the sound goes out for a moment, it's because I'm like moving it back up with my elbows. That's dedication, folks. So I won't bore you with the long story of my physical impairment, but I'll just say it's not life-threatening, but it is still kind of painful. The only cool thing that happened is I finally got acupuncture for the first time. Just kind of, it doesn't hurt at all. They just kind of give you some light electric shocks, and after a couple days, it really did make me feel a little bit better, but definitely just a short-term solution. So I'm going back in a couple days, hopefully. I'm seeing a doctor that has a degree in sports medicine. She'll be able to figure out exactly what's going on. Like I say, I think it's just because I have horrible posture. I've always had horrible posture. I've always kind of hunched over when I walk. And this pumpkin Muppet reminds me, I pretty much have the figure of a pumpkin Muppet. It's this giant round head on like a broomstick body. So that can't be good, just leaning over all the time, all that force on those neck muscles in the back of my head. But, and on top of all that, I'll just use my walrus jar for this. On top of all that, my internet went out during all of this, so I was just like, you know what, screw it. I went to work, although it wasn't comfortable at all. And I was able to go online at work during my breaks as usual. But at home, I was just like, you know what? I'm not going to fix it. I'm just going to live without the internet at home for a few days. I don't have the energy. So I've just been laying around at home trying to rest my body pretty much after enduring the pain at work. It's not been a comfortable couple of weeks. But I'm optimistic that it will get better. And one thing about not having the internet, it gives you a lot of time to think about things. And I didn't really have any enormous breakthroughs regarding the game design, but I did think a little bit more about Dark Souls, and I did watch, at work, Mr. Hansen of Game Grumps play through Bloodborne. Because if you remember, caught it. If you remember last episode, I said that I decided not to play any other of the Dark Souls-ish games, including Bloodborne. So after I decided that, I thought, oh, what the heck, I'll watch him play through it, because I enjoyed their playthrough of Zelda 2. And right off the bat, I have to say, I am extremely impressed. There is no way that I could have played Dark Souls and carried on even an intelligible conversation. I'm not saying anything about being entertaining, I'm saying just making sense with my words. It wouldn't happen. Like, I can barely stay on topic, and most of the time I can't, playing this game where you're just navigating menus and you can stop whenever you want. So I was impressed right off the bat, and if anything, I was more impressed as the playthrough went on. And I'm not some kind of massive Game Grumps fan, you know. I think they're very talented and very entertaining to listen to, but usually their stuff is not super interesting to me, like the content of what they're saying. But that playthrough really captivated me. So I was very interested, and I was paying attention in particular to see what moments, I don't want to call him Aaron, I don't know him. I don't want to call him Ego Raptor either. I'll just call him Mr. Hansen. What moments Mr. Hansen really enjoyed during the playthrough. And Dan too as well. And I noticed when I was playing Dark Souls, there are really only 2 moments that I enjoyed or I got a lot of satisfaction out of during the game. Beating a boss after dying several times, I know for like an achiever or a killer, you know, that's a good feeling. It made me happy because it meant I could explore more, so it was kind of like a gateway on my exploration. But other than that, it felt kind of inevitable. And because of the way the game is structured, you know eventually you're going to beat the boss. So it didn't really give me a lot of satisfaction to beat a boss. But the 2 moments that I really did enjoy... Staff of Happiness, eh? I guess I'll hold on to it. At this point in the game, Staff of Happiness really isn't super helpful. I mean, all it can really do is get you a big boost of experience in the beginning of the game. But right now, I don't know. I'll hold on to it. Maybe I'll run into some kind of mammal. Be able to get a little bit more gold. One moment was when I found a secret passageway that opened up into a large area. So why? Oh, good. All right, this is the perfect chance. Guiding mammal. Since I have a spiky meld, I can kill any guiding mammal. You can see you automatically get 2,000 gold. So that's pretty good. I have so much money though, which is good. I can buy a strengthening jar if I find one in the shop. I won't have to try to steal it. So finding a secret passage, like late in the game in that library of Sith is his name? Something the Scaleless, that big blue dragon. On your way to him, I don't know, I guess this is a spoiler, but I was playing in the offline mode, so I didn't have any like hints, so I was just exploring on my own, trying to figure out where to go. And when you find that stairway down, and then you walk outside the castle or the library / castle, and you find that blue crystal area, it's like a whole new area that you weren't expecting near the end of the game. That gave me a lot of satisfaction because that makes the world seem potentially infinite. You know, it seems like it keeps getting larger and larger. And obviously for an explorer, that's a very satisfying moment. But there's another more interesting moment that made me happy, and I really was paying attention during the Game Grumps Let's Play of Bloodborne to see if Mr. Hansen also got this moment of enjoyment. And that's when you find a shortcut that leads back to an area that you were at a long time before. Ooh. Alright, this is bad. I don't want him to make me take off my sleepless armband. Alright, we won't take any chances. When you find a secret path back to a place you were at a long time ago. And from a practical standpoint, I understand that brings you pleasure because you're like, finally, you know, I have a shortcut. I don't have to keep walking a long way from the lamp or the bonfire. Sure, on a practical level, it makes you happy. But there's something deeper about that moment, I think. At least for me, there is. And I've been thinking about it as I've been lying here the last few days. What exactly it is that makes that moment so satisfying. Because I can hear it in Mr. Hansen's voice when he finds that. He's like, what? You know, we're back here? And it's it really brings you genuine joy, and I think that's kind of a universal feeling, it seems to be. So all I can think of is it's kind of, in some ways, I have a lot of thoughts about this, but they don't really connect, so I'm going to have to continue thinking about it. So this is just going to be kind of me rambling about the thoughts I've been having. But I also decided this year not to say but as much. I should say however. However. Oh yeah, that is so much classier. One reason I think it's satisfying is that it shows you something familiar, but also strange. It's a little uncanny, I guess, in the Freudian sense. You're coming back to a place you were, so it's a familiar place, but you're seeing it in a new light, from a new perspective. And in that way, it's showing you, it's like a more complete view of something you thought you already knew. And I said that I really like the game Metroid Prime 2. Metroid Prime 2 is also structured in that kind of a loopy way where things connect up unexpectedly. It's almost like a dream. You know how you're in a dream and suddenly the geometry of the dream, the architecture of the dream is very strange. Like you'll walk outside of a door and suddenly you'll be like in your second grade English classroom and you're kind of walking across time and space and nothing really makes sense. There's a little bit of that in that moment in a Dark Souls or Bloodborne game where you thought you were getting farther and farther away from your starting point and things are getting more and more dangerous. And suddenly you're somewhere familiar, but at the same time a little strange and a little unfamiliar. And the world, it somehow feels more complete and it makes more sense, but also the world seems more tenuous and unknowable and mysterious. Because if these things connect, maybe there are an infinite number of connections that you just haven't found yet. So it's a contradiction, it's ambiguous, and I've been trying to think of situations that trigger a similar emotion. It's kind of like when you take a class. Well, this example is probably not very relatable. I was a bioengineering major in college, and it sounds very impressive, but what it basically means is I took like the intro classes in a lot of different departments because I wasn't really good in any one thing. So I know a very small amount about a lot of different topics, but I don't have any real in-depth knowledge on a single one, which is kind of my personality. So I took biology classes, mechanical engineering classes, physics, chemical engineering, like a little bit from all the science and engineering departments. And you'd see the same topic come up in different classes. Like you might be taking a fluid mechanics class, and then a biomechanics class, and a calculus class, and a physics class. An idea of stress and strain would come up in all four of them from a slightly different perspective. And there is that kind of moment of recognition that brings you a little bit of happiness. Like you see how things connect in a broader sense. And that's similar to the emotion that I had, I guess, when I found a shortcut in Dark Souls. A more relatable example is when you're listening to a song and there's a repeated line in the song, or the chorus is repeated, and it means something different at the end of the song. And that doesn't happen a lot in pop music. At least I can't think of a good example. I know it happens a lot in country songs. I'm not a big fan of country, but I gotta quit saying but so much. However, I know that I have read lyrics in which that is the case. Because country songs usually tell a story. There's some kind of like character arc usually. The only song I can think of right now where it happens is maybe like Margaritaville, where the chorus changes slightly and you get a different perspective as the song goes on. But I know there are better examples. I just can't think of them right now. In poetry, I guess you probably heard the Robert Frost poem, The Road Not Taken. And in the beginning, there's two paths divergent or wood, and he takes the one that's less traveled, and then he says it again at the end, and you understand that he's really saying something larger. He's saying that in his life, he's always tried to do things that were difficult or unexpected, or not just go along with the crowd. He has a larger point to make. That's not a great example either. That feeling is a little bit analogous too. It's something familiar, but because of the context that has happened between the first time you heard the line and the next time or final time you hear it, it's a little bit unfamiliar and new, and it really opens up the song or the poem a lot for you. That's one of my critiques for a lot of modern pop songs, by the way. I listen to lyrics, and I feel like a lot of songs, they capture a moment really well, and there are certainly great songs that just capture a single emotion or a single moment that kind of crystallize it for you. I'm not saying you can't do that. However, Justin Bieber, he's trapped in an endless cycle of not knowing what it means. He will forever be arguing all day and making love all night. There's not really a character arc there in that song. Taylor Swift's blood will never become more good. It's just as bad at the end as it was in the beginning. And I like, if you're not going to have some kind of character arc in the lyrics themselves, which really I need. I mean, I get bored very quickly with modern music as soon as I hear the chorus repeated a couple times. But if you're not going to do that, there's nothing wrong with just having a catchy, repeated chorus. At least musically, there should be some kind of variation. And I'm not asking for Bach levels of cleverness, just a little variety. There's a song called On My Mind by Ellie Goulding. I got nothing against her, but its chorus is incredibly monotonous, like painfully monotonous. Just tell me a story, pop musicians. I want to know what it's like behind blue eyes. Maybe some booties do need explaining. Damn teenagers! And I do see the irony of me whining about monotony in this talk-through of this dungeon, but it's totally different. It is not the same thing. And obviously I'm referencing The Who as a positive example of variety in music and lyrics. They tell you no one knows what it's like, and then they tell you what it's like. And so the chorus has more meaning at the end. Oh, I better stop whining about brain-dead lyrics in modern songs. I'll never stop. So anyway, those were the only analogous situations I could think of for that particular emotion that happens when you travel farther and farther away from some original idea or place of safety, and you feel like you're getting into more and more danger, and suddenly you come back to your original location in an unexpected context. And that happens a lot in Firelink Shrine in Dark Souls. That area takes on a real emotional heft every time you return to it. Alright, knock this Lilac back, and I'm going to save the game. I guess it's a little like running into an old friend on vacation. Threat inversion is a little bit like that. I don't know. I'll think about it and get back to you next time in Shiren the Wanderer. Let these doctors work their magic on my neck. These are some dangerous floors. You know the risks, and so do I. I'll shoot some arrows just to be sure I don't get killed after I'm hypnotized, while I try to tell you about the feeling when you find a sweet shortcut. However...
But, oh,